The following is a production of WEGL 91.1 FM.
That ball is gone. It's a walk-off home run for Stephen Williams.
WEGL Sports,
The Tigers are headed to the College World Series.
where every
Touchdown Auburn! Zakoby McClain!
game
They're not going to keep him off the field tonight. Holy cow!
lives. And welcome to the Extra Point here on WEGL 911. How's everybody doing from wherever they may be? Davis Carroll, Jack Hart, Alec Houston Davis. We'll start with you. It is honestly, I have no idea what's going on in Auburn. I assume it's a nice Tuesday morning, maybe a little bit cloudy. How's
Couple storms coming in, so it might be pretty rainy today, apparently.
A little bit of storm coming. I know there's like a hurricane forming somewhere.
It is the hurricane. Came through Mobile, coming up to us now.
Alex, we'll go to you next. Really? Is that the...
He's muted.
He's muted? Why is he the only one muted?
Keep him muted.
He's not muted.
I say we take a vote. I say yes.
He's not muted. Jack is muted.
Jack's muted too. Alex says it says Alex is muted.
Well, this is what happens when he's not
can't
muted.
have nice things, Alex.
He's literally, look. I'll do this. I'll mute him, and then
Alex, I think you need to unmute yourself.
This is actually the best thing that could have happened, actually, because I actually don't have to listen to him.
Is he punking us? Is he just acting like he can't talk?
Hold up, let me do this.
Jack, can you talk?
There, Alex, can you talk to me now?
Jared, what has happened is that only the host is allowed to unmute people, and you've also disabled the chat somehow, so...
Alex, can you talk to us? How is Davis and Jack are talking? I don't know what's wrong with you.
I got unmuted.
Yeah. You know what? Maybe this is like a divine intervention type of thing, because maybe I just don't listen to you. I know what you're gonna say about this Washington football team. I don't want to hear about it. And maybe this program is just saying, you know what? We're just not gonna go with it. I promise you, from my side, Alex is not muted. I promise you 100% he's gone.
Alex texted me. It says the host doesn't allow him to unmute himself. Oh wait, he's gone.
Well, yeah, but I unmuted him. So I don't understand. But you know what? Screw Alex. Jack, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great, Jared. It's great to be here. I'm hoping, I'm using an external speaker, so I'm hoping I'm not giving you guys a bunch of feedback.
We're back.
Oh my God, kick him out. Jack was talking, Alex.
Oh, sorry.
Interrupted Jack. I was wondering how he was doing, okay?
It's a little easier to make it to a virtual extra point than the real deal, so happy for counting my blessings on that one.
You know, the crazy part is that even going virtual, I feel like that I somehow had a harder time getting up for this one than I did driving 40 minutes and then getting into a studio. I mean, it doesn't help with that.
I can understand that, yeah. When you have the drive in front of you, it makes it a little takes the pain off of it a little bit. But I mean, when you got like a 2.5 minute bike ride, I tell you, the buffer's right there.
Like, I guess it doesn't help that, like, my bed is
You went
right
to bed
there.
at 7 a.m.?
That didn't help either. Look, my sleep schedule turned upside down again. I don't know if you guys remembered, like, during the middle of the pandemic, where I pretty much only answered at the middle of the night, and during the day, I would just not answer anything at all. This is what it's turned into again, is I'm just awake during the night and during the day. Like, I promise you, after this show, I'm going right back to bed. I'm gonna do a backflip into this bed behind me and just go back to sleep, and then you're not going to bother
Lucky.
me for the next 6 hours. Promise you. All right, so let's go ahead and get into the show today. We can go one or two ways. We can go college football first. Bye,
that
Alex.
one's
We can go college football first because it was an interesting weekend in college football, or we can go to the NFL and kind of see what's popping over there, especially after some Monday Night Football games that happened last night. So, do you want to hit college football first, or do you want to go NFL because that's more recently on everybody's mind? Alex, why do you have a big
Football
grin
out
on
of the
your face?
way, I'd say.
You said college football?
Now let's go ahead and get it out of the way. It's a little more distant in my memory. And if I'm being perfectly honest, I don't know if it was the teams that were playing or what, but I wasn't particularly enthused by college football this weekend. I think I watched about a half hour of the Kansas Chanticleers game, about as much as I could stomach of that, and not much else. I mean, I kind of kept up with the Duke Notre Dame game because that was really one of the few matchups of Power 5 teams going on this weekend. But other than that, it seemed to be a lot of hokiness going on.
Yeah, we can start with college football. Let's start with, well, I guess those. It felt like the noon games were the best games. Obviously, the marquee matchup in there was Louisiana and Iowa State, or pretty much the Sun Belt versus the world. What it felt like on Saturday, the Sun Belt showing up and showing out. You had Louisiana getting their big win. App State doing its thing. Is Coastal Carolina in the Sun Belt?
Yes.
And they defeated a Big 12 team.
So I mean,
3-0.
Don't mess with the Fun Belt.
so
First of all, guys, they're called the Fun Belt now. Have we not
Not
been
gonna call
paying
them that.
attention?
look,
Why not?
I'll call them whatever I want to call them. All right,
They're about to be
still
called
Sun
the
Belt.
Power 5 belt if the
Oh.
Big 12 doesn't get their act together.
I'm gonna call them the dumb belt.
That's not even. Davis, that's terrible.
So yeah, I mean, out of all the games that happened, like sure there were some fun ones. I mean, it's also just trying to keep in mind Arkansas State. They are the what?
Sun Belt.
They're the Sun Belt too.
Yeah.
So Arkansas State.
Everybody good's in the Sun Belt.
So like poor Arkansas State. They got a big win too, but nobody really paid much attention to them because it was Kansas State. But I mean, the early games were pretty good. We saw some upsets. Then the late games were kind of just meh. We saw a good double overtime game between UTSA and Texas State. Texas State letting me down once again. But you did see Florida State lose to Georgia Tech, which that was just funny.
Pretty dramatically. I mean, blowing a 10-0 lead, some hashtag college kickers getting thrown in there for good measure. We saw a lot of that this weekend. Very clear that these teams had a lot of rust to shake off, and I don't know why that favored the Sun Belt teams over the Big 12 teams. I don't know what the contact practice scheduling has been of these clubs, but I think the best example of all that was the BYU Navy game, where you really see what happens when a team who has put in the work in practice shows up against a team who clearly hasn't. And is that what happened this weekend, or was that just a blip on the radar, an anomaly? We'll see this week, and we'll see especially in 2 weeks when I mean, I'm going to be blunt, the interesting games start, because if I'm being completely honest, that nothing in college football this weekend really captivated me.
And that's what I've been trying to figure out as well, because if it was just rust or if these teams are actually in trouble, because I watched all the Notre Dame game because my dad and my brother are both fans, and they had that game on, and Ian Book looked awful. Like he didn't look like he was just, making some, like he looked like he was missing throws constantly, taking sacks, which, I mean, I made some jokes about how but it'll be a very tough year for Notre Dame if Ian Book is going to play like that the rest of the year, especially when they have to go play Clemson because, well, the one team that looked really, really good this weekend was probably Clemson. But we expected that again because they were playing Wake Forest, but still.
I mean, I don't know. Pitt did win like 55-0.
Who
I'm
did
just
Pitt
gonna
play?
like Austin P or something like that.
Yeah, okay. Clemson
Hey,
actually played a Power 5 team. I mean,
hey,
sure, Wake
but
Forest is barely a Power 5 team.
that's somebody though. Look, I think the big thing is that we saw a lot of rust, and a lot of teams are going to have to knock that off. That also means for another conference named the SEC, we're probably going to see something similar. We're going to see some teams that are not supposed to be good look decent against teams that are supposed to be good that look kind of bad. A perfect example may be Auburn, where Auburn's supposed to be really, really good, but they let a team like Kentucky, who's supposed to be, decent, hang around with them when they probably shouldn't. So, we're gonna have to be careful with what Kentucky's throwing down and what Auburn's bringing to the table. I will say though, we do get a top 25 matchup next week in college football when this is so bad. Miami plays Louisville. That's your top 25 matchup. That is a 17 versus 18 matchup. Which
I mean,
it sounds like our basketball season.
sounds like we're playing a game in NCAA 14 and just a random team ends up in the top 25. Like, I was playing it yesterday and New Mexico was undefeated. Not really sure what happened there. They made it to the national championship and won as well. So
until you get a San Diego State versus Middle Tennessee undefeated versus undefeated national championship, I don't want to hear nothing.
that's fair.
That's what happened with me. Yeah,
How many years
That's
did you
tough.
play in for that?
that was year 2.
Oh
wow.
my gosh!
That was
Were you playing with like some roster or something, or is this just the luck of the draw?
no. I had just happened to be San Diego State.
Oh, okay. That
I was the
well,
offense.
still.
I was offensive coordinator for San Diego State, and I was like, we're gonna run the ball, and we ran the ball right into a national championship with Middle Tennessee.
Nice.
Uh, you know, I say it's not interesting. This is the Miami team that let UAB stick around for a lot longer than they should have.
UAB's
Then
not a bad
again,
team.
they're not a bad team, but it's Miami. I mean, they got a bunch of 5-stars. Miami probably has more 5-stars on that roster than UAB does like historic wins, or they should.
You could have just said Miami has more 5 stars than the UAB has ever had.
I mean, but that's like
It's a given.
It's not a fun sabermetric, Alex.
yeah, that's like saying you're white and I'm black. Like, duh, everybody can see that. Like, Jesus.
Oh my!
Wait, y'all are?
I don't see color. When Miami and Louisville played this week, it was one of two. The other one got postponed. It was BYU versus Navy. They postponed it for COVID reasons. I'm just gonna run with the thought process that BYU obliterated Navy and Army didn't want any of that smoke, so they just said, you know what, we're out. But that would have been the other top 25 matchup being played this week. Other than that, I mean, Virginia Tech was supposed to be another game. That got postponed due to COVID. I honestly don't see any other game that interests me on this schedule. Maybe UCF, Georgia Tech, but only because I want to see Georgia Tech beat UCF.
I think it's important to realize that. I mean, this is a college football schedule missing what 4 conferences right now. So the
Sure, I'm
schedule
not
is
gonna math,
pretty
but
thin. So I think that's I mean, to be expected that there's not that many interesting games so far because there normally aren't at the beginning of the year anyway, and now we're taking out of 4 conferences for potential matchups, and you're really getting a very limited schedule. Because like what the MAC, Big Ten, Pac-12, and SEC are all not playing yet.
Right.
So I mean,
I think that's because your interesting matchups on week 1 are always your Chick-fil-A kickoff games and your
exactly.
Dallas Bowl and your NRG kickoff and all this stuff. And while those matchups are getting replaced, they're getting replaced later in the season. So
Yeah.
Auburn still has all the marquee matchups they can ask for, but they're just going to be pushed later and later into the year. So we're just dealing with kind of a false start here from college football. I was actually surprised. I thought the whole situation was starting up in a week, like Auburn is, but it seems like some of these conferences are trying to get in as much football as possible as soon as possible. So,
I mean, speaking of trying to get in some football, there are reports coming out that says that not only is the Big Ten trying to get back into playing, but also the Pac-12's like don't leave us out anymore, and I think the story was a mid-November start, which they're gonna be five, 6 games back at that point. They did it in a mid-November start.
Honestly, it'll be like 7 by that point if they did November. But the strangest thing to me about this is that, Jack, you talked about how you thought everybody was starting with the SEC, but it seems like these schools are getting a head start. I thought that was because since, the SEC is like the southernmost conference in college football, so they don't really have to worry about like the winter. The northern teams have to worry about, playing into December. It can be pretty hectic. But then the Big Ten, with the southernmost school being Maryland, wants to play their games in December. I mean, it'll lead to some fun contests when, Ohio State and Michigan is in a blizzard. But it doesn't seem like a good idea from that standpoint. And then also, spring football is, a month after the season ends?
Don't worry. Global warming is going to fix all that.
Especially due to the fact that you're more vulnerable to get viral respiratory diseases in colder temperatures.
Tell him, Jack.
I didn't even think about that. But
I'm just saying, the decision making of the Big Ten on this whole situation has been very poor, and I
Brian
really
Day's about to lead a coup to be the new Big Ten commissioner.
I mean, I figured something like this would happen, where they would postpone their season, but then like they'll see everybody else, going along and it's going decently well, which for the most part through these first week, 2 weeks, whatever it may be in your head, it's been decent enough. There hasn't been any major, things happen. You had some postponements here and there because a team had a small outbreak or a positive test somewhere. But for the most part, it's not as disastrous as it could be. And so now you have the Big Ten and Pac-12 looking at it like, you know what? Maybe there's actually a way if we put in the right protocols for us to actually get through with this. We saw how the Big Ten's talking about rapid testing and testing, 3 times, 4 times a week and stuff like that. My problem with these conferences is that where was this plan at months ago, not now? Why weren't you thinking about this? I mean, once again, hindsight's 2020, right? But why weren't you thinking about these kind of plans in June, July, heck, even August, instead of September 15th?
Yeah, I think you can say hindsight's 2020 to defend them, but many conferences and leagues, specifically the Big Ten and Pac-12, have handled this entire thing horribly. I mean, this is just because they looked at the numbers and they're like, oh man, very scared of the numbers, not thinking that if you can lock down this team and keep them away from contact of many people as many times as Auburn is doing. I mean, Auburn had 9 people test positive, and now they've done it to where they had no positive test a week later, and they were able to minimize it as much as they could. And I think that a lot of teams didn't, the Big Ten specifically didn't think that was possible for some reason, and we're just like, oh, we got to cancel it. Plus, I think they also thought everybody was going to cancel, and they wanted to be ahead of the curve, but it's only given them more negative press than good press.
Don't get me wrong. I don't hate them for postponing it because, I mean, if you're doing it for the player's health, I'll never fight against that. That's the one thing. But I don't think the pandemic's gotten any better for them to say, hey, let's, the situation's still the same. It's still as, numbers may have plateaued or even gone down in some places, but it's still relatively higher than a lot of people want it to be, or at least a lot of medical professionals want it to be. So what changed in between when you postponed a month and a half ago to now? other
I
than
think
other than everybody else is playing, and you saw, well, they're making money, and I'm not.
I think honestly, okay, so when the Big Ten made their decision, that was around the time when the MLB didn't look like it was going to be able to finish their season
Oh yeah, when
because
MLB like fell flat on
the
its face and the
the
Cardinals were
MLB
on a
was literally, I
grave.
mean, the Cardinals basically and the Marlins disappeared off the face of the earth for a second there, and um, I think that was the factor. And also, you say what changed?
Davis, what
Nothing
you cooking?
changed, which is the point, because all these college football teams have handled it
Waffles.
relatively well. Davis, what in the world?
He's cooking waffles, bro.
Oh, of course.
I gotta
I
donate
just
blood
think
later, Alex. I'm not gonna pass out, okay?
good luck. But I just think that the fact that these
Use a
conferences have been
use
able
a
to do it
plate, you
without
heathen.
what?
Do
I
what?
told him to use a plate instead of his hands.
I'm not gonna waste a plate for
Were
two
you
waffles.
Were you raised in a barn or something?
Yes.
I was raised in Grand Bay. What do you want from me? So basically,
Alex,
I am from the Boondocks.
All right, stop it. Alex, continue with your story.
I just think that everybody else doing it and it not, like we haven't had a Cardinals blow up with any of these schools yet, as far as I can remember. So, or like, what happened with the Marlins, like either of those has not happened. I think that's what the Big Ten was looking at and thinking, if we don't do a bubble like the NBA, that's what's going to happen. And then,
Was there-
that's when the NFL had all those like false positive tests as well. Like there was just a bunch of other stuff going on that has since been fixed that the Big Ten immediately, just pulled the trigger on. We're done. Davis, that was a crunchy waffle.
Yeah, that was
Yeah, I
pretty
burned
bad.
it.
You burn a waffle. But yeah, the Big Ten. I mean, the thing is, no matter what decision they make, this is gonna have effect on their conference for years to come because next season is gonna be affected by whatever they do this year, and the following year, and so on and so forth.
I mean, if the Big Ten can start, I don't know the numbers, but the Pac-12 the report said mid-November. If the Big Ten can start at the latest, I would say the beginning of October, but I feel like that's being a little bit generous. If they can get like at some point before like the midway of October, I think they'll be okay. I'm not gonna say they're gonna be fine, but they'll be okay. And then you gotta make that decision of whether or not, a 10 win or a 10 game season for an SEC team weighs more than a 7 or 8 game season for a Big 12 team or Big 10 team compared to what's probably going to be like a 3 game season for the Pac-12 at this rate. I mean, and screw COVID for the Pac-12. I mean, damn, the whole the state of California is on fire right now. So
Yeah, I was gonna say like, they were saying how we can't do it because California's been shut down by COVID, but now the entire West Coast is basically on fire. So I was also gonna say that, you mentioned how like a 10-win or an 8-win SEC team versus 10-win Big 12 team. I think this is probably the greatest chance a Group of Five team has ever had of making it, because you take away two Power Five conferences out of your way. I mean, if the Big 12, I mean, we just saw half the Big 12 get got by the Sun Belt already. So they already have one loss, and if they win out, they may not even get in above a Group of Five team. And I mean, the Big 12 and SEC could easily destroy each other, leading, I mean, some Group of Five team could make it in. Because, like, Cincinnati's already ranked like 14 in the
I believe
preseason.
Brandon Marcello had Cincinnati in his Final Four. So
Nice. This could be an interesting year.
That's a bold move.
I mean, again, it comes down to, I mean, if you look at the SEC schedules, I mean, Auburn could easily lose 2 games, but then take out 2 other potential teams. Like, they could lose to A&M and LSU, but then it's not take out Auburn and Georgia. They've done it before.
Yeah.
I mean, this is probably, in terms of overall probability, we're looking at maybe the least probable chance of an SEC team coming out of this 10-game gauntlet undefeated, no matter who you are. I mean, even your Alabamas is going to get got by somebody.
Especially because these teams don't have home field advantage anymore. Like, obviously, Auburn has to travel to Bryant-Denny to play Alabama, but what does that really mean now that there's not going to be 100,000 people there? There's going to be 20. Like, that completely changed the dynamic of any game. Same for all of Auburn's home games because, I mean, we've seen Gus's home versus road records, so.
Don't remind me.
But
I've also seen the
All
bowl
about the
record
locker
too.
rooms. It's not the crowd. It's the It's the wallpaper.
It's all.
I mean, the Bama fans leave anyway, so are they really even a factor?
That's tough. I will say, Jack, if that's the case, then Iowa's got the advantage because what their away locker rooms are all painted pink because Iowa's old coach from like the '80s thought it was that color would like affect the psyche of the opposing players.
Man, I mean, it's a great
That's
game
my favorite
plan.
story.
It's a great game plan if your team didn't always like give out at the end of the season.
I mean, it's worked. We've seen some big ticket schools go down in Iowa City in the past. I'm looking at Minnesota last year.
And Ohio State a million years ago when
top ranked Michigan on a last second field goal in 2016. I think's a winner.
Yeah, and then I mean the school, on the other side of the state. Actually, I have no idea where Ames is compared to Iowa City.
Yeah, I was about to say.
But the other school, Iowa State, who's had a good run the past couple of years, they've been a pretty good Big 12 team. Absolutely embarrassed by Louisiana, and that was
embarrassed is an understatement.
That was Dan Campbell, who's the head coach at Iowa State. Matt Campbell. Why did I say Dan Campbell for? Matt Campbell, who's the head coach at Iowa State. I don't know who Dan Campbell is.
His name sounds familiar though.
Dan Campbell. Matt Campbell, who is the head coach at Iowa State. Years
He's
ago,
a coach in the NFL.
Sure. Years ago, I was thinking that if Gus ever got fired, it's gonna be Matt Campbell. The connection was there. Auburn's former this is so long ago now. Auburn's former president that they made leave pretty much was from Iowa State. Matt Campbell was at Iowa State. His contract was coming up. Gus may look like he was going out the door. It looked like Matt Campbell was going to be the guy. It just felt like that. And then it kind of just fell through. And now, I mean, he's losing to Louisiana of all teams.
And Brock Purdy's draft stock just got tanked in one game.
Yeah. When it came on the field, it was like, oh, he's number 5 quarterback for Todd McShay or something like that. And then he got his pants pulled down on live TV is pretty much what happened.
It was bad. And Louisiana's a good team, but it was still bad. Also, Louisiana used to be called Louisiana Lafayette, and now they just dropped the second part of the name, and it always gets confused.
Don't you bring that up to me, because that is actually a very sore subject about them changing Louisiana Lafayette.
Why is it a sore subject for you?
I'll tell you the story. When Louisiana Lafayette, now known as the Louisiana Raging Cajuns, dropped Lafayette from their name, okay, they used to be like UL Lafayette or Louisiana Lafayette, whatever it was. Yeah. The year they dropped their name, that Lafayette from their name, was the same year that Auburn soccer played Louisiana in a regular season game. I had to work that game for Wiggle Productions, SEC Network. Okay? At that time, because our system runs on a whole project, right, that ESPN gives us, ESPN did not change their name in the system. So it still came up as Louisiana Lafayette. And I was thinking, well, they may change their name to Louisiana, but they'll probably be fine with Louisiana Lafayette. So we kept it there for the game. Do you know the email that we got from Louisiana was the most passive-aggressive thing I've ever seen in my life. And I was like, these kids right here really sent an email about their name being upset about a women's soccer match, which I'm pretty sure they lost anyway. I hope they lost.
I mean, in fairness, it doesn't help. Rebranding is difficult, especially because that is an old school to begin with, and they've had that name a long time. But rebranding is always difficult, and if your TV appearances, you don't have the rebrand acknowledged, it just makes it more difficult.
Don't tell me about the rebrand. Tell the people who sent the project.
No, I'm sure they just they're not. You're not wrong in that regard.
Why did they change it?
Probably.
Is there any reasoning behind it?
Probably just because Louisiana Lafayette was a bit tedious and specific. I think it was originally done because there's a lot there is a FCS Louisiana school, and then obviously LSU. There's a bunch of schools that just have Louisiana and then something to specify.
Yeah,
and I think now
it's directional Louisianas.
Exactly. And nobody calls LSU Louisiana State University anymore. They just know them as LSU. So I think then they realized they could call themselves just Louisiana.
There's Southeast Louisiana.
I believe they're a flagship school of the of the state in terms of tax dollars. So I think they have a legal right to call themselves University of Louisiana.
Yeah, it's like
Kind of like how University of Alabama is technically UAT, as close as they are to UAB, but no one calls it University of Alabama in Tuscaloosa, despite that being the correct name. So,
and eventually, Auburn University of Montgomery, they'll get there. They'll get
They're
there.
gonna overtake us.
Maybe
The
You never
Owls.
know.
I'll also bring up as a Panthers fan the fact that that was the last time that Iowa State or any Big 12 team lost to a University of Louisiana Lafayette team was all the way back, I believe, in 1993 when Panthers legend Jake Delhomme led them
Oh
to
my
a
gosh.
win over Texas A&M 29-22.
Jake Delhomme.
Woo!
Wow, even I wasn't born back then.
1996. So
Never
Jared,
mind, I
stop
wasn't.
lying.
Never mind, I was born.
Must say,
That's
Jared,
a-
you were a 35-year-old man with wife and 2 kids. You're watching that game. Don't try and pretend that you weren't, Jared.
I'm
You know,
20
that joke is funnier every time, don't y'all think?
What? Which one? That I'm
That you're
old?
35 and have kids.
I think that's a lame joke. I think me going around saying I'm depressed is a lot more funnier. But
Yes,
that's
Jared, you
just
just
me.
blatantly yelling at random moments, I'm depressed. It's really just, comedic gold.
I mean, is it gold when it's true?
Oh my.
Speaking of-
that doesn't even make sense.
Speaking of Jake Delhomme, that's a
It's not
great
fool's
seg-
gold, Alex, is
Yeah.
what he's saying.
Speaking of Jake
Ah.
Delhomme, that is a great segue into the NFL. Are we done with college football? I mean, do we get everything off our chest we want to say about college football, other than like the Big 12 sucks?
yeah, I mean, mercifully, let's talk after Auburn, Kentucky.
That's yeah.
Auburn, Kentucky, September 26th. It's coming up. I mean, what is it? 11 days now for
Yes,
that
sir.
game. So
Yep.
just hold
2
on
weeks from
tight.
Saturday, by this past Saturday.
And I'm gonna be honest with you guys before we get into NFL. Slowly but surely, I'm getting more worried about that game. It's a sinking feeling I have in
Is
my
Jared
stomach.
okay?
Jared, someone caught your.
Oh no, what just happened? Well. Oh no, what happened? Huh. Uh.
And I stayed late Sunday so I could watch the games with my dad because we used to watch NFL Sunday football on Sunday Ticket every single day, or every single Sunday, I mean. And I'm staying there to watch the game, and then they get down 17-0. And I looked at my dad and I said, I'm staying here for nothing. This is pointless because they suck.
All right, Alex, shut up. I don't want to hear about the Washington football team.
No, Jared, we're talking about them because your team sucks, and we'll get to them later. All right.
What?
So,
no, time out. First, what did I miss? I guess my first question.
He's talking about
Jack
the
did
Panthers.
an exquisite breakdown of the Panthers, and also did a hilarious rundown of the scoreboard. So.
All right, so let's throw it in reverse. Let's go back to. Actually, I don't even know where we were at.
Yeah, no, don't throw it in reverse. Alex, keep talking.
Exactly.
No.
I'm about to get this. Look, Jared, we're probably going to go 1-15 this year. So let me talk about it right now, okay? Because this is the only entertainment I'm going to have before we lose all our games. So they're down 17-0. I'm like, wow, this is a great start. We're so going to go worse than last year. And then somehow they just clawed their way back and won mainly because of the defense. Because oh my goodness, they're spectacular. I mean, the Eagles' offensive line was basically held together by duct tape and spit, but they still dominated and destroyed them. And poor Carson Wentz was on his back more than he had completions. Honestly, I mean, the dude was getting hit every single play. And I mean, the offense was serviceable. In fairness, it is only Dwayne Haskins' 8th career game, and this is also his first game in a brand new system. And he started 3 for 12, but finished 14 for 19, so that's a positive. And I mean, now we got to go play the Cardinals, who just happened to beat the 49ers, which I'm not very happy about. Why couldn't we get somebody else like the Giants? Also, Ron Rivera is the only first-year coach to get a win, despite getting an IV in the middle of halftime because he has cancer. So, you really love to see that determination. But, yeah, I mean, we're also first in the NFC East. The NFC least, as some people call, but, it's feeling pretty good.
Look, I'll say this.
NFC East? I thought you said NFC West.
I'll say this.
What, Jared?
I like to make fun of Washington because they suck, and they still suck in my head. Don't get it twisted.
Jared, they got 8 sacks.
I don't care. Don't get
Jared,
don't get it twisted.
your team
Just because the Philadelphia Eagles lost every single person on their offensive line. It's not because y'all are that
Hey,
good.
When Carter Bird texted me and told me that Jack Driscoll was starting, I knew there was to be
Andy
a day.
got hurt.
There was a day of
Jack
reckoning about to
Driscoll
happen.
actually left in the middle of the second quarter. But, I mean,
Look,
yeah,
I'll
but
give
who
you
cares?
this. Look, I like making fun of Washington because they suck, right? And they have a really, really weird history with a lot of things.
That's
But
true.
I'll never put down a team that scores 27 unanswered to win the first game.
That's what I'm saying.
And I'll never hate
Unless it's Washington.
I'll never hate Ron Rivera. I know. I mean, I feel like, and I think Jack can attest to it. Even as Panther fans, nobody hates Ron Rivera. They just thought that it was just time to part ways, and that was
Time to
it.
park from the riverboat.
Yeah. So, Ron Rivera fan for life, no doubt. I don't care where that man's at. He can go coach at Alabama, and I don't care. I'm still be rooting for him. So that's whatever. But even with all that being said, yeah, I said it. Washington can lick my feet, 'cause I'll never ever believe that they're a good football team.
Well, they're not just a good football team; they're the football team. So,
How long were you holding on to that? How long?
actually, I just came up with it like 2 seconds
No.
ago.
How long were
They
you?
did.
How long were you holding on to that to whip it out?
You're not going to trick us with that, Alex. You had that plan.
No, I legit just came up with it 2 seconds ago. I'm not kidding. However, Jared, look, I understand you're upset because your team is garbage and let Gardner Minshew have one of the greatest performances in the history of football. I understand. You're upset because your team is trash.
Both of my
It's
teams
fine.
are trash. It's okay.
Alex, what are you talking about? You'd have no room.
I'm just saying we didn't let Carson Wentz go 19 for 20. So,
Yeah, it's true, but you're still the Washington football team. You have no name.
hey, which team doesn't have a loss yet in this room? Which one is it?
Okay, Alex.
Why,
Hey,
why,
how about we make
why
a
you
bet?
throwing
At the
shade
end of
at
the
Jack for? He didn't say anything.
No. Sorry, Jack. That was only directed
He's
at
throwing
James
it
and
at
Jared,
me.
obviously.
Jesus, friendly fire for God's sakes.
I mean, what can I say? I got to go on the defensive. Look,
You
guys.
know,
I mean,
you're
look.
making no friends in this Zoom call right now. You're making no
absolutely
Alex,
friends
it's
at
like you're
all.
bragging about an NBA player scoring 30 on a G League team.
That's fair. But in fairness, Jared told my team to lick his feet. What do you want me to say? Just take it. I mean, do you want me to just?
Just lick his feet.
Lick the feet.
He told you to.
You bow
Jared, I
down
ain't
to
trying
you
to- I
bow
ain't trying
down
to-
to the
no.
king.
Let's be
That's
honest, Alex.
terrible.
The Colts are going to end up with a better record, and the Panthers are going to end up with a better record than the Washington football team.
Hey, Davis. Who won when the Panthers and Washington played last year?
Is this year or last year, Alex?
I don't
I
think.
mean, all I see is
I don't think they cared because they got Derek
no.
Brown out of it.
Alex, that was the Redskins. That was not the football team.
That's right.
Yeah.
Okay, Jack. All right. That's fair. Look, I mean, sure, Washington is probably going to have a worse record than every team in this Zoom call right now. But let me just enjoy my win while I've got it. That was our first
No.
home opener win since 2014, guys.
Okay.
Also,
The-
the first time.
The Colts
We have
haven't won
maybe
the Colts haven't won their first game of the season in 6 years. So what?
Oh, well, that's tough.
Yeah.
I don't know what to say to that.
Believe me.
Look, let me.
Until
Jared,
you have an opening season game where Curtis Painter is your quarterback, I don't want to hear anything because I
had an
dealt
opening
with
game
that.
with John Beck and Rex Grossman taking snaps at quarterback.
Yeah, but Rex Grossman is a Super Bowl quarterback.
whoa.
He
whoa.
is, Alex. He's not.
Can,
did
can,
Alex,
can
did
you
Jared
dispute
lie?
that? Did I lie?
He was. I mean.
Oh, what you gonna
Super
say
Bowl
now?
quarterback.
Rex Grossman got to a Super Bowl.
That's like if you. I'm
What?
trying to think of some adequate analogy to basically express how useless he was.
To the Bears,
like
to the Bears,
like
or to
if-
Washington.
If it's the Daytona 500 and you've got a driver, you win the
Alex,
race. Then
time out. Shut up. Do
Who
not
cares about the
do,
Daytona 500?
do not bring NASCAR into this. Okay, I had my
I thought it was
NASCAR
good.
stint. I don't like NASCAR anymore. Okay, my driver
I thought it was
retired.
good, though.
My driver retired. I don't watch anymore. It's whatever.
Who's your driver?
It was Tony Stewart. Then he killed a guy.
Same. Oh yeah, that really made it tough.
Well, it was just more that he retired first and then he killed a guy. But or whether he
Oh, yeah.
did kill a guy or he was still.
No.
It doesn't matter.
He retired after.
Look, I almost got into racing when I was little. Okay. Small backstory.
Jared Dillard, NASCAR driver.
My dentist. This is like 100% an Alabama story, right? Because this only happens in the state of Alabama. My dentist, who I got, I went to get my teeth cleaned and stuff like that. He raced go-karts, like full big stock go-karts, right? And I almost got into that, but I didn't. So there's that.
That's cool.
That's the story. But what were we talking about? We're talking about Washington. What were we talking about again?
He was trying to make an analogy.
Oh
and
yeah.
He brought up the Daytona
Bring
500.
up a different analogy than the Daytona 500, please.
No, come on. That's the only one that works that I can think of.
Okay, go. What?
I was gonna say it's like, okay, so the driver wins the Daytona 500, but then Rex Grossman is just in the passenger seat doing absolutely nothing the entire time. Are you really gonna give him?
There's
credit for the
nobody
win?
in the passenger seat in these cars.
Why did you say like Jimmy Garoppolo for the Super Bowl last year?
Jimmy G was better than Rex Grossman.
And Jimmy
he
G, the
didn't do
Super Bowl
anything.
quarterback.
Jimmy G is the Super Bowl quarterback.
Rex Grossman
He
is
is.
easily the worst quarterback to ever make a Super Bowl in history.
I'm not disputing that. I'm just saying.
Yeah,
Jimmy G, all he did
we're
was
not
hand off, or Ryan Tannehill, all he did was hand off.
So
we're not
also, wait,
disputing it.
Jared, what
What?
was the name of that quarterback you said?
Curtis Painter.
Curtis Painter.
Curtis Painter.
Yes,
I've never heard of that.
I believe he went to school at like Purdue, maybe. It was
Curtis
like
Painter. Okay.
maybe it was like a gold team. I don't remember. It
Let's
was
see.
bad.
He played for the Colts 2009 to 2011. He was drafted in the 6th round. Was reserve.
It's pretty
Purdue.
bad.
You're right, Jared.
Oh dang! Look at that. I'm good at what I do. Yeah,
He never started the opening game, Jared.
he played against the Rams. I remember.
Jared, I'm telling you, based on this, he never started an opening game.
Well, he came in and it was bad.
I mean, I'm sure it was, but again, I had no. Jared, you cannot compare any of your despair to um to
My quarterback's doctor said his injuries looked like he was in a car accident.
who was that?
Andrew Luck. There's a reason why he's not playing anymore.
I mean, RG3 tore his ACL, and the coach was like, "Yeah, you're good. Go back out there."
Yeah, no,
So,
you know what RG3 was doing this weekend? Winning football games, okay? Because that's what winners
yeah,
do.
and you know what Washington was doing? Winning football games. You know what the Colts were doing? Not.
Okay, can we get off the Washington football team for a second and let's talk about the
Let's
rest of
talk
the
about the Patriots.
Let's talk about the Patriots, and then we can talk about Tom Brady and his debut as a Buccaneer. So the Patriots, Cam Newton taking on the Miami Dolphins, and it may have not been the best game, for the Patriots, right? There's a lot of sloppiness going around, but they did win, and the Cam Newton era starts in New England, I guess, for however long it may last.
Yeah.
What was the reactions of Cam's debut against against Miami?
Too much
I mean,
running, but it worked.
my reaction was the fact that I mean the Patriots are acknowledging that he's a running quarterback and that's his best attributes. They're going to use that as much as they can.
Yeah, I was frankly aghast at the fact that was I don't know if it was under Belichick or a franchise record for rushing quarterbacks in a game.
It was
Rushing
franchise.
It was franchise.
franchise record for rushing yards from the quarterback with a game at a grand total of 65.
Well,
I mean-
before you have Drew Bledsoe and Tom Brady, it's kind of
I was
I mean,
going to
for
say,
the-
think about it.
25 years, and then before 1985, the Patriots were a complete bottom-feeding team. So, I buy it, considering they've had Tom Brady for the past, 20 years, it seems like. But at some point, you got to think, how many times is Cam Newton going to break that record this season?
Every game.
I also want to point out that Tom Brady is the 1,000-yard rusher for the Patriots, so let's not, it's not too crazy out there, okay?
Well, didn't he do a quarterback sneak and got 1,000 and then kneeled it down and went back to 999 or something
I
like
think
that?
he had 1,000, and then they were going to go win the game with a kneel, but instead of kneeling, he dove forward or something like that.
He's a multi-time 1,000-yard rusher.
So, I mean, not many quarterbacks can say that.
I mean, it is interesting that about the rushing thing because, running quarterbacks didn't really show up till the 90s anyway, with Randall Cunningham being one of the first. And then even in the 2000s, I mean, when they really showed up, still Tom Brady was there the whole time to really not give them an opportunity to have a running quarterback. So,
Yeah, it was I mean, the first big ones, I guess, in the I don't say modern era because I mean, I would say Randall Cunningham is still technically modern, I guess, depending on how you want to break down your years. But I mean, McNair, Michael Vick, I mean, those were the big, not small running around quarterbacks that we see now, but they were mobile. They didn't sit in the pocket; they could
scramblers.
run.
And Mark Brunell among those others as well.
And then
Apparently,
you get these baseball players like Russell Wilson and Murray running around, scampering around. I found it amazing. I don't want to deviate too much. I found it amazing that Murray, I believe it was 15. He had 15 carries, and on 14 of them, he either scored or he got down or went out of bounds. He only got tackled once.
Yeah, I'm watching the highlights of the Cardinals game right now, and he's got the handles. He's a human joystick.
So, which that's one thing that people were scared of is if Murray gets hit at all. I mean, he's gonna get hurt, but as long as he doesn't get hit, he'll be fine.
yeah. All it takes is one, though.
He's a little dude. He's probably built like a cinder block. I bet he can take it.
Let's go to a team that we can all make fun of at least. The Detroit Lions definitely took a hard one against the Bears. Not only were the Lions winning, but they let the Bears come back. Mitch Trubisky, of all quarterbacks, come back on them. And then they had the game-winning touchdown in their grasp, but DeAndre Swift dropped it.
Carry on wouldn't have dropped it.
Where is Carry On? Is he hurt? Don't tell me he's hurt.
I think Matt Patricia just hates him because he had 1 yard and he was starting on my fantasy team. So
So, did anybody see the stat where it's the Lions fired Jim Caldwell after going 9-7 to hire Matt Patricia? Matt Patricia has since gone 9-23-1.
Look, that's.
We need Jim Caldwell back.
I mean, that's just for par what I think the Lions organization is.
Will Matthew Stafford go down as one of the biggest wastes of quarterback talent in history?
Yes.
Because he is really good.
Put him on the Panthers. See how that goes.
I mean, he's been so good for so long. It seems like it's just the fact that like their defense is garbage and they have no offensive weapons.
Jack disagrees, Alex.
Jack, you disagree?
Oh, he's
You think
washed.
Stafford's terrible?
Bad guy,
Really?
bad quarterback.
I mean,
That's
what
some expert analysis, Jack.
Have-
Can you
have-
elaborate?
has Matthew Stafford been to the playoffs?
Once.
I'm trying to think of any good quarterback that just hasn't been to the playoffs at all.
Let me go. Oh, Dwayne Haskins. Sorry. I retract.
Alex, we made a ranking the other day. Quarterbacks, he was the last one on there.
What do you mean? When did you do that?
You weren't there.
Like,
Where were you?
Alex,
That's it.
if I
Don't worry about it.
if I could somehow transcend through Ethernet cables and come through your computer and choke you, I would.
You would have
Jared
started
is starting
evolving,
confused.
Jared.
I'm trying to think. I mean, wasted quarterback talent. I mean, man,
He's got to be up there.
He's up.
Stafford has been to
He's
the
up there.
postseason 3 times. Once in 2011, once in 2014, once in 2016. He is one and done in all 3 of those appearances. 74 of 117 for a 63% passer. 900 playoff passing yards. 25 playoff rushing yards. Sacked 6 times and lost 2 fumbles.
Actually, I know somebody who's probably even more wasted, and I'm gonna combine them actually because I think it's pretty sad what this team did to both of their quarterbacks. Cincinnati Bengals quarterbacks in general, both
Yeah.
Andy Dalton and Carson Palmer were wasted.
Yep, that is a good point.
I'd say
least
Philip
Andy-
Rivers was.
Andy
Philip Rivers-
Dalton has been in the position to achieve. I mean, the Bengals lost 3 straight wild card games.
Yeah.
That's true, and he wasn't particularly great in any of those playoff games, if I'm
Now,
recalling correctly.
Did the Bengals lose because of Andy Dalton's play, or because there just wasn't enough around him to get it done?
They lost because of homeboy.
Vontez.
Okay,
Yeah,
all right, timeout. So, Dalton, in 4 career playoff games, 55% completion percentage, 1 touchdown, and 6 interceptions.
Or 5
So, yeah,
of them. Were 5 of them one game.
No, 3 of them were in one game.
There it is.
One of them was in it's just okay, so that's more just that was clearly he was part of the problem there. Which if you take that out, because sometimes quarterbacks are part of the problem, do the Packers get into contention for wasting talent?
If Aaron
They've at least won a
Rodgers,
Super Bowl.
is Aaron Rodgers wasted because of a couple of years where he didn't have enough talent? Yeah, he is.
Yes.
Is it anywhere near Carson Palmer, Andy Dalton, or
Well,
Matthew
we
Stafford?
just-
Rivers.
No.
hold up. We just stated, and I just showed how Andy Dalton was part of the problem. He was
Yes.
terrible in the playoffs. Aaron Rodgers has been great in the playoffs and been dealt the terrible hand of either a horrendous defense, which was the 2012 to like 2016 era, was just awful defensive play by the Packers, and then now it's the fact that he has Devontae Adams and a bunch of scrubs as his wide receivers. So
Don't hit on Lazard.
Yeah, or Vontez
Sorry.
Scantling. Come on, bro. Why are you doing that?
I mean, I think that they could be in contention for it simply because if the Patriots are winning 6 Super Bowls with Tom Brady, the Packers should, make more than 1 with Aaron Rodgers. And they haven't.
I feel like that more is because of a contentious NFC than Tom Brady above the AFC and then everybody else.
But if you've watched the Packers year in and year out and seen them perform terribly and then not sign anybody in free agency every single year, and then just waste a first-round draft pick on a backup quarterback that is not going to play in 3 years because Aaron Rodgers is one of the best quarterbacks on the planet, you begin to see, this is a top-to-bottom organizational mishap or mishandling of a talent again.
I think if any
But,
team only has one Super Bowl with a good quarterback, you can just say they mishandled the talent.
well, I wouldn't
The
say that
Saints
though.
You could say the Saints mishandled Drew Brees, have wasted Drew Brees. The Panthers wasted Cam Newton.
I,
You
I don't know
could. I'm
about
not
that
saying
one.
you could say that.
I mean, no, okay, Davis, you could say it, but that doesn't mean you should say it. The
Yeah,
Panthers didn't
Yeah. Well, they
necessarily.
haven't stopped you from saying stuff, Alex, has it?
at
Jared,
some
you told
point, there's
Chris
not
you could
enough
list the team.
championships to go around for all of the talented quarterbacks. I mean, you can't make a ring the only measure of whether or not someone was wasted.
Well, yeah, and that's what I'm saying, and also the fact that I think Aaron Rodgers is probably a top. I mean, all time he's definitely top 10, and whether he's in the top 5 is up for debate.
I mean, yeah, I mean, you can't say Aaron Rodgers was wasted in that the Packers have been a relevant playoff contender every year that he's been playing for them. The only outlier being the 8-8 season where I believe Brett Hundley was starting, and the Packers were a headline because Aaron Rodgers wasn't starting. Yes, his defense has let him down many, many, many times in the playoffs, but when you have the championship certainly helps. I feel like he would be in a Phillip Rivers type conversation. But then again, the Chargers have also been just terrible for a lot of Phillip Rivers' tenure in San Diego.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
it is fair to say not to use that as the only metric. I just think that for a team that they should have made it at least one more time, just because there's been years where they should have made it and they've just faltered just because of one thing or another. Like last year, I mean, they go 13-3, but I mean, that offense is literally Aaron Jones, Aaron Rodgers, and Devontae Adams, and then nothing else. I mean, he has no other options there, and it showed with his completion percentage and with just what happened against the 49ers. So
I have one.
Who?
David Carr. He was so wasted
What?
that we don't even know if he could have been that good or not.
Okay, that's true. The Texans, but that's a whole different thing.
How?
I
The
think that
Texans
goes
wasted
into,
his talent by not giving him anything to work with.
I mean, that's more like just, I don't know. That's like failing from the jump. That's like when Washington's like, nope, RG3, you're good, and then just destroyed his career before it could really begin.
Had Andre Johnson. That's like it.
That pretty much was it. They had a.
I mean,
They had a.
Who they have, Jared?
They had an Auburn running back. What was his name?
Ben Tate.
Ben Tate. That's right. I always picked him up in Madden. He sucked, but I liked Auburn players.
I would say if oh man, what was I just had a thought. Davis, you ruined it.
It escaped again. That's how empty your head is. Let's go on to the Buccaneers Saints game. All right, Tom Brady debuts for the Buccaneers. Does it go as planned? No.
Nope.
And
However, the Saints are very good.
once again, Twitter blows up and says, "Hey, Brady's done for. This is it." But is he though? Is he?
I mean, Max Kellerman's been saying on ESPN for the last 6 years.
Max Kellerman
and
says a lot of things, so I don't really.
when he first said Brady was done, Brady had since made it to 3 Super Bowls, so there's that. But I mean, I don't think he's done. No preseason, limited offseason, new offense against probably the second best team in the NFC, if not the best team in the NFC, with one of the better defenses in the NFC. I mean,
on the road for whatever that means these days.
I was about to say at this point. I mean, wait till evaluate it till we're 8 games in. If they're 4-4 at the 8-game mark, the bye week or whatever, then maybe start, sounding the alarms.
I just thought that they would be a little bit more impressive with all the talent that they had.
Yeah.
I mean, they have everybody they could actually want. I guess I expected too much, especially considering no preseason and they probably didn't gel together very well.
I expected a shootout, honestly.
I expected 49ers Saints of last year. The game that went like 52-48, whatever that score was. That's what I was expecting, but didn't get
Especially with Bruce Arians being hyped up as this QB guru, and then Tom Brady just played terrible.
Again, it is the first game of the season. It's his first time he's been in a different offense in 20 years, or at least a relatively different offense.
Okay, but it's not like he was throwing like really far downfield and he just couldn't make it. He was throwing like it was just easy miscommunications between him and his receivers.
Davis, that's what happens when you're in a new offense. You don't have any preseason. You just proved my point.
Okay, Alex, golly. God.
And then finally, Monday Night Football. Steelers, Giants. Steelers win 26-16.
Did y'all see that interception by Danny Dimes? They had a 20-play drive, and then he gets sacked and just launches it up the air to like 10 Steelers defenders.
Look.
That was bad.
That's Danny Downs for you.
That is Danny
Dimes
for you.
I think the bigger thing is I hope none of you had Saquon Barkley on your fantasy team because that did not end well at all.
I did. I still won by 40, but I could have used the extra points.
Alex,
I mean, the fact that I can say this statement, this statement, Ben Roethlisberger had more rushing yards than Saquon Barkley in this game is actually true. The fact that I can say that and it's true is mind-boggling.
I mean, the Giants' offensive line was quite possibly worse than the Eagles in terms of run blocking. I mean, every time Saquon touched the ball, there was a Steelers defender within a foot of him at that point. Like, there's only so much he could do.
And I mean, it's amazing because I believe one of the highlights that I saw of Saquon Barkley was him breaking free and hurdling a guy.
Yep.
Unless that play got called back and I didn't realize it.
No, that was a reception. He
actually
had six catches for 60 yards. He had 7 rushes for -10.
That doesn't sound as cool.
I'm sorry. I couldn't live up to your.
Alex, you never do. And then all the other Monday Night Football game was Titans and Broncos, where the Titans missed 4 field goals, but still somehow won the game.
That's the Titans. That's the Titans for you.
I mean, that's also the Broncos for you as well, I guess.
That was a interesting game. I mean, I just look on Twitter during the game to get updates, and I just see Gostowski trending, and I'm like, oh, that can't be good.
Well, look, if he missed that 25-yarder to win the game, I guarantee he would not have made it off that field. He would have been cut.
Yeah.
He would have been cut before he hit the sidelines.
I mean, easily, because at this point, you don't need a good kicker, or you don't need a great kicker. You just need someone who can, make the 25-yard kicks at this point. Like, so they definitely would have cut him to find somebody else. Which I also totally forgot that he left the Patriots.
Did you?
I could have sworn he was still there, but I guess not.
Who signed Cody Parkey this past weekend?
The Browns. He's taking on Thursday.
Oh, Cody Parkey's back. He's back and better than ever. Don't you worry, boys. On Thursday night, Cody Parkey's gonna grace us with his presence. And
oh boy,
God help us all.
Indeed.
Is there anything else in the NFL that we forgot to mention at all?
Not really.
Kind of went over everything. Well,
we can go to the NBA now.
Let's turn over to the NBA.
Yes.
Where on Sunday, while all the hoopla was going on about the college football poll, AP poll, which I don't think they mentioned, Auburn's 8 in that poll. So, hey.
Nice.
We're climbing up there. Slowly but surely. We'll make our way up there. The AP poll, all the NFL games, quietly going on Sunday at 1 o'clock, same time as kickoff, was Game 6 of Clippers Nuggets.
Yeah, I didn't even know.
I forgot what was happening. Yeah, same. I had to click onto it. I didn't even know.
No, it happened, and honestly, like, I knew the game was going on. I just didn't care at all because I was watching Sunday Ticket, and I would just periodically just look on my phone to see what the update on the score was. Nuggets win 111-98 over the Clippers. They're forcing Game 7, which is, hey, look at that, tonight.
I mean, I don't know how this keeps happening with the Nuggets. Did y'all see that, at halftime, the Nuggets posted, the halftime score on their Twitter, and they said, "We're used to making comebacks." Like they literally did the ultimate jinx, and they still did it.
Every
still
single
came back.
playoff series Jamal Murray and Nikola Jokic have been in their career are Game 7s.
Which is
So,
impressive, I guess.
like the 3 series they've been in.
That's honestly ridiculous.
That is insane, especially because Jokic has been, you know, hated on because of his weight in the past and how it affects his endurance. But apparently, he's able to play consistently enough to Game 7 every time. And now, I mean, since he lost all that weight during the quarantine, apparently, he's
Well,
even better than ever.
we're
I
now
mean,
we're now getting to that point where I know me and Jack have mentioned it before. We wondered how much left in the tank the Nuggets had to even get through this series. Apparently enough. Apparently they're driving a hybrid, I guess, because they're getting
yeah,
through it.
this is ridiculous. It really is. I mean, because it's not like they are even playing good at the start of it. They've been down in every game. Like yesterday, they were down by 16. The night before, I remember watching that game that night, and I think it was Friday night. Yeah, and they closed the lead to 4, and then the Clippers took it back to 19, and they still came back and won. I don't know how they're doing it. I really don't.
Honestly, I can't watch the Clippers because for some odd reason I feel like the Clippers remind me of Auburn basketball a lot.
They're streaky. They
Where
are that.
where they will get out to a humongous lead and then you blink and it's like, wait a minute, how did he even get this close to begin with?
Did y'all
I
see the
think
stat?
What's that?
What's that?
It was something like the Clippers are 0-7 in elimination games to get to the Western Conference Finals.
Yeah, because they've never ever made it, and
What's
they also
gonna
had
be-
the.
And they're not going to. Let's
Yeah,
go
what's
Nugs.
What's going to be the legacy of these Clippers if they fall short tonight?
What's gonna be the legacy of Doc Rivers? I mean, how many times has his teams in the Clippers choked in the playoffs?
You know
now,
what,
with
maybe-
even better
How
teams.
many times has he got them there? That's the thing. I think
Doc's
they're going to end
true.
up keeping Doc Rivers.
Doc
But he
Rivers
hasn't gotten them there, Davis.
Doc Rivers is like I can't say Marvin Lewis because he's won playoff series, but it almost feels like the same thing where you're supposed to be getting to the finals of your conference every year, but you just somehow can't.
Can we say he's Mike McCarthy?
Yes, definitely. He's Mike McCarthy.
Because he's got that one big win, but that was with a really stacked team. And then after the fact,
There is no
Just can't
reason
seem to get done.
there's no reason why this Clippers team has not closed out the series yet.
yeah.
They're
Well,
really about to let the Nuggets win 3 straight, aren't they?
I think maybe the reason is because Nikola Jokic is a top 2 center in the NBA, and he's not 2. So that's part of the problem.
We'll talk about Nuggets Clippers again in a second, but let's start with the first game of the night. That is at 6:40 Eastern, 5:40 Central. A 1.5 point favorite, which is pretty much nothing, for the Celtics. It is game 1 of the Eastern Conference Finals. Heat, Celtics, I believe. Is this the first time in Eastern Conference Finals history that the 1 and 2 seed are not in there? I believe they said that.
Or at least the one or the two. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think so.
So it is. I mean, this is going to be a fun series. I think everybody likes these teams. They like how the Heat are kind of like the joke team.
Everybody.
They like
Come on, bro.
they what? Who hates the
I'm
Heat?
a Bucks fan. I don't like either of these teams.
Look,
I was about to say I can't stand the Celtics, but go off.
I do. I'm going for the Heat. As much as I do like the Celtics, but I'm going for the Heat since they beat the Bucks.
Can't stand the Celtics.
look. The Heat. I think everybody likes the Heat because they joke around a lot. They're a lot of fun. They're the fun team. And then the Celtics. They are the dynasty. New blood dynasty. They got Tatum. You can finally be happy for Kemba Walker because he's now doing something now.
And he's
Right.
playing terrible. In
Yeah,
the,
yeah.
in
I'm
the
about to say
playoffs.
he's now doing terribly and getting carried by the
Hey,
rest of his team.
I
at this
said he's
point.
doing. I said he's doing something. I didn't say he was doing great. He's just doing something.
Yeah, you could just say he's doing something in the playoffs. That's his big stepping stone.
Heat Celtics, which I mean, in the last 20 years, I feel like these are very two big franchises. Miami, Boston. They both have championship material. I mean, they both got young stars. Jimmy Butler, Jason Tatum, Kemba Walker. Yeah, Miami Heat. In this series, who do you have and in how many games?
The Heat in 6.
Heat in 7.
Let me
Heat in
think on
6.
that. Heat in 6. You know, honestly, between you guys, the Heat are gonna win this series. I just feel like they got the most going for them after what they did to the Bucks. But because I was harping on the Celtics being a great team from the jump.
Celtics were your pick, Jared. You can't abandon
Yeah,
them.
I never abandon. I always go down with the ship. I'll never abandon a pick. So
He's gonna die on this hill.
I will die on this hill. I'm planting the flag right here. I'm going
Oh.
Celtics and I'm going Celtics in 7. I would say
Wait,
6, but I'm not that bold.
Can I take a brief timeout just to see talk about something that I just saw posted? It does not relate to the NBA, but I think it's very funny and should be shared. So the University of Alabama, a clip is going around of all their kickers practicing.
Oh no.
They're not kicking it to the goalpost. They're just kicking the ball randomly into the stands. And I have no idea why.
They're showing off
they're
how
not-
hard they can kick, Alex.
They're not lined up in the goalpost. They're just kicking the ball.
Because they know if they went to the goalpost, they'd miss wildly. So might as well just go crazy while they're at it.
That's fair. I just think it's very funny because, I mean, bro, like.
I mean, if that's how they practice, that explains a lot.
That's what I was
They're
gonna
just
say.
trying to hit. They're just trying to hit Auburn fans in the stands. That's the goal.
I mean, what on earth? Okay, I'm sorry. That was just. We'll stick on the NBA. That was just, I had to talk about that for a second.
I'm taking the Celtics in 7. I'll go down with the ship. In my heart, in my head, I know it's probably gonna be the Heat, and I'm 100% okay with the Heat. But in my heart,
That's not where your heart is, Jared.
well, it's not. Honestly, I don't know what's going
Jared
on.
just starts tapping his head.
I don't know what's
My
going on
heart.
in my heart. Okay, like I can feel like it beating. I feel like something's going on, but whatever. What? What's so
Jared,
funny?
look in the. Wait, are you?
He's not even in that one. Oh no.
Oh,
Jackson, Jared,
so-
I always go down with the ship. Also, Jared.
What you just told me that there's another group chat I'm not a part of. That's what you just told me, and now I'm hurt.
Oh yeah, that's my bad. I think.
That was the alternate extra point chat that Alex made before he realized that
But nobody told me that Jared was actually able to return. Okay, nobody gave me any information. Jared says he told Davis. Davis says he told me. Nobody told me anything. Okay.
No, I
so-
didn't tell you because I
I-
assumed you knew.
I texted all of you at the same time when it
Nope.
went down.
Nope, because I searched it up in my text message, and there's no record of you mentioning that you worked there.
Maybe you should just start talking
to
to him more, Alex.
Oh my.
Yeah, Alex, if you actually return my text messages, maybe this wouldn't be a thing. Instead, I'm staring outside your window at night in the rain with a boombox, asking where you at, because you never return my texts. What were you doing at freaking 2:00 in the morning? By the way, when you Snapchatted me the other day,
Just go for a walk, Jared.
who goes for a walk at 2 a.m. in the morning?
Alex, that's
Yeah.
why women are scared to walk outside.
Walked home at 2
Oh my gosh.
like,
If they see you walk around at 2 a.m., do you think they're not going to be worried?
Davis, that's
Just going for a walk.
here's
Dave's
me.
about to get canceled in 10 years because of that.
Here's why. You're the one that sounds.
You're the one walking around at 2 a.m. I'm just pointing it out.
Here's me at home eating ice cream at like 4 a.m. in the morning Eastern time because that's just what I do these days. And I sent a Snapchat to Alex, right? Not expecting to get an answer back. And this man answered me in like 2 minutes. And I'm like, either 3 things, right? Either he can't go to sleep and it's because, school or whatever, which is understandable. He's kidnapped and he's asking me for help. At what point I wasn't going to help him anyway. Or third, something unspeakable happened and he was not in the right frame of mind. I was going to have to call the police. One of those three things was
Wait,
going to
what
happen.
about like he was partying? That's an option.
Oh, I was going to say that, but that's number 3. He's not in the right mind. I didn't want to say he was underage drinking. 'Cause that sounds bad.
I never said that.
I didn't
said
say it
he was
either.
partying.
I didn't say it either. But
Alex would not let it pass his lips anyway.
long story short, I don't know
I was
what
about to say, I haven't.
I don't know what you were doing at 3 a.m. But we're gonna ask your mother and we're gonna see how she feels about that.
Oh my lord.
And your long lost
Jared.
brother, who I didn't know existed until last week. but
Jared,
that's another
you did-
story.
that's
His
because you don't pay
long-lost brothers. He has 2 of them.
All
Dude,
right.
that's just because you don't pay attention.
You're right. I don't pay attention. All right.
What on earth?
I'm not gonna lie. It was pretty funny. The Jared, I'm gonna die on this hill, but also Jared and me switching teams. That was pretty good. I'm not gonna lie. That was actually really good.
Oh, Jack.
Good job. All right, and then second game, Nuggets Clippers game 7. Winner takes on the Lakers in the Western Conference Finals, which I believe is that slated for Thursday. I have no idea. It's slated for Friday. That'll be a Friday game. So no longer do we get games every day. It's dwindling down. But game 7, Nuggets Clippers. Who you got?
Let's go Nugs.
I'm gonna pick it in 2 parts. I'm gonna say in the first half,
Oh,
Clippers gonna be up by 30, but then the Nuggets still gonna win. So
Why do you even do this?
Why didn't you just say the Clippers are gonna or the Nuggets are gonna win?
whatever. I'm just trying to, add a new layer. But all right, guys, fine.
Mute him,
fine.
mute him.
Just
Don't mute me. You'll never be able to unmute me, Jared.
Alex, I can't hear you. You're muted.
Jack. Who do you have?
Funny joke.
You checked.
So I picked the
Jack.
Jazz in the last game 7, and I was obviously wrong. So what I'm gonna do is pick the Clippers in this game 7, and
Give me
hope,
your guarantee.
I hope I'm not wrong twice. This game has been jinxed on both sides. We have Magic Johnson openly already advocating for the Battle of LA as if it's already happening, and then you have the Nuggets, of course, talking about calling for the upset from way deep. So we have curses working in both directions. So it's effectively a toss up.
All I'm saying is, if this game comes down to a controversial call by the officials, it'll be very, very, very what's the word?
Controversial.
Intense.
Oh.
Because people have been claiming that this Battle of LA thing is what the NBA wants, and then it can happen.
Well, I'll say a wise man once said, "Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, you'll never fool me again." So, I'm going Clippers as well. Never trust the Nuggets. I've believed that for the last couple of years. You don't trust the Nuggets in anything. Just don't. Just don't.
Well, clearly you don't trust the Clippers in elimination games to get to the Western Conference Finals. They have yet to win one.
I trust the Clippers to reach the finals more than I trust the Nuggets. Which
Really?
says a lot, yeah. I never trust the Nuggets.
I feel like this is just a battle for some team to lose in 5 games to the Lakers.
Be more, 6 games.
Yeah.
No,
I don't know.
No. If it's the Lakers versus Nuggets, honestly, I could see a sweep.
I think it'd be a gentleman's sweep.
What's that mean?
I feel like that's
5
just
games.
I feel like that's just saying they're gonna get swept just with a little bit of sugar on top.
That's just they get swept, but the Nuggets get 1 game.
That's not a sweep then.
We've been over this, Alex. It's just they win 1 game. So because the other team's being a gentleman's sweep.
It's an Eastern Conference gentleman's sweep where the losing team wins game 1, and then proceeds to get swept.
I see. Okay.
All right. Well, kiddos, it's been fun, but Jack has to run along to his occupational safety and ergonomic safety lecture. So I'll catch you guys on Thursday, if not before, when we hopefully talk about the Nuggets Lakers series.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, right. All right.
Hi guys.
Thank you, Jack, for joining us.
Adios.
Thanks for having me.
Davis, Alex, is there anything else we need to go over? We didn't reach baseball, and I will attribute that to the 10-minute gap where I was not
About the Washington football team.
Yeah,
Guys.
when I was not in the video call.
Alex,
mean,
you're muted. We can't hear you.
That's not funny. Can we talk about how the Braves lost 14-1 to the Orioles last night?
Did they?
That's funny. Yeah, they did.
Ouch.
14-1. The Orioles were up 10-0 after the 3rd inning.
Hey, they started a comeback.
Well, let me check something. I don't look at the Cardinals right now because it's probably not good. Yeah, it's not great. The Cardinals are perpetually a 500 team. But, see, The Yankees have now won 5 straight, and now people shut up about them. Everybody's always like, haha, Jared, the Yankees are losing. And I'm like, just you wait. When the cannon is loaded and they're about to blast off on somebody, just you wait. And here we go. They won 5 straight. That doesn't really mean much in the grand scheme of things, but the Yankees are starting to find their stride, I guess. Look, I'm gonna be quite honest. I don't have much to go on in baseball. I feel like I'm just waiting for the playoffs to start.
Yeah, exactly. That's the same thing for me.
When does the playoffs start? I mean, it's middle September. Doesn't it start in October?
It's supposed to be middle. Well, no, I thought October is. Well, yeah, I think it starts either late September or just the beginning of October.
Because the Cardinals have a game all the way up to September 27th, and I don't see any games for the month of October.
In that case, then yeah, it starts at the beginning of October. Plus, what they're doing, a 60-game season, and some of these teams are already at, the 40-game threshold or the 50-game threshold. So.
The Cardinals just got to it, and that's only because they had a doubleheader yesterday.
Yeah, because they basically disappeared off the face of the earth. Hey, but they're the 6th seed right now. Oh wait, no, wait, what? What the heck?
Alex is confused.
No, because it says on my CBS Sports thing, it says divisional leaders, and it lists 6 teams as divisional leaders.
Are they tied?
Is that all the divisional leaders in Major League Baseball?
No, it's because there's only it's each conference, each league. So it's it's Braves, Cubs, Dodgers, and then immediately following them are all the second place teams.
Is it because they're in second
the new
place?
Playoff thing they're doing?
Oh.
Yeah, they are all in second place. But that's weird. Huh. Anyway.
Well, I don't know how they're doing it, but
yeah, I don't either.
We hit college football, we hit NFL, we hit basketball, and we sprinkled in a little Major League Baseball in there. Alex got a NASCAR reference in there for some odd reason, and nobody cares.
Jared, it made sense. Okay, it made sense.
I don't even know what NASCAR is doing
if you don't
right
watch
now, bro.
NASCAR, Alex, and they don't even have a passenger in the NASCAR.
Let's take a guess. What's the upcoming NASCAR race coming up next? Without looking, I want you to guess what track they're at.
Without looking.
Let
me try.
The Piston Cup.
The Piston Cup.
I don't even know where NASCAR.
You really just said the Piston Cup? Hold up.
Oh, it's a great track too. I'm not gonna lie. This is a fun track.
Is it Rainbow Road?
Shut up.
You said it's a good track, Jared. Any hints on that track?
No, just guess.
You said you said like you just happened to see it, and now you're gonna say it, so you look like you sound smart.
Jared, I did not Google it. I swear. I didn't.
You so did. Guess what it is, Alex. Even I know it.
You know it. What is it, Davis?
I want to make sure you know it first.
Is it Bristol?
He saw it.
No, I didn't.
He definitely saw it. You don't sit there in 10 seconds in silence and go.
You don't do this.
Okay. Yeah.
I don't know what you're talking about.
You definitely saw it.
You leaned forward, did something on your computer, and then leaned back and went, I got it.
I was actually looking forward to look at the tweet that says the Rockets are considering Jeff Van Gundy and Ty Lue as the replacements. So
no, sure you were.
Yeah, I'm probably on the list too. It doesn't mean anything.
That's a fair point.
So we've had our 2-minute NASCAR discussion now, so I hope everybody's happy with that. Anything else, or are we done here?
I'm good.
Good?
I'm good as well.
Yeah, I need to get ready, and honestly, I just want to get back in bed, if we're being quite honest with
go back to sleep,
everybody.
Jared. Go back to sleep.
I'm gonna figure out why the whole situation happened with Zoom. That was awkward. I never had that. That was probably the second most awkward moment I had on the show before. I'm not gonna lie.
Second.
Yes, the first one was when the fire alarm went off. We had to leave.
Yeah.
In the middle of the show. But nonetheless, it was still fun. So, Davis, thank you for joining me on the show. Alex, thank you for joining me as well. And we'll be back tomorrow. Same time, same place. Thank you for watching and listening to Extra Point here on WJL 91.1.